It's your world you're going to inherit. If we take action now, we can improve what you're going to inherit in 20, 30 years. So I'm Paul Burrows. I'm the director of renewable generation projects, and really what I look after is the major projects on the renewable side of the business.
My name is Horacio Werchow. I'm a civil engineer.
Renewable energy is energy from sources that are naturally replenishing but have limited inflow. Renewable sources are virtually unlimited in duration, but limited in the amount of energy that is available per unit of time. They are reusable, sustainable, abundant, and environmentally friendly. Unlike fossil fuels, they are not going to expire as soon as they're used. They need constant replenishment.
The energy is not created, it's there, and what is happening is we transform the energy from one type of energy to another.
There are many types and variations of renewable energy. There is hydropower, which normally consists of an endless cycle of flowing water that is captured and turned into electricity.
There are many ways, but the most common way is when you build a dam. So you make a wall to stop the water in the middle of the river. So you build this wall, and what you're doing is actually you are raising the level of the water in that behind that wall. So now the water, what you've done was you generate potential energy.
We have wind turbines, which use this wind to spin their turbines and generate electricity, and geothermal energy, which generates energy from heat stored beneath the Earth's surface.
We need to take care of the planet. I mean, there are other means of energy, but if they are not being exploited carefully, they will be no longer there. Renewable, it will always be there.
How do you use energy responsibly? How do you heat your house? Heat and cool your house. So I think it's a responsible use of energy and trying to reduce your carbon footprint where possible.
In Canada, renewable energy is becoming more and more of a factor in our communities' everyday lives. These alternative replenishable energy sources may be a major factor in combating climate change. Most countries across the world are heavily reliant on fossil fuels, oil, coal, and natural gases, as a source of energy to power their economies. Fossil fuel energy affects the environment and health due to the emissions and impact of mining practices. Mining for fossil fuel creates a lot of pollution in the environment on top of the actual damages the use of fossil fuel creates.
Fossil fuels put a lot of carbon into the atmosphere, and really, to some extent, historically, it's been a free ride for people with driving or coal-fired plants or gas-fired generation. They've just been able to put the pollution in the atmosphere, and for a long time that maybe that was okay, but it's finally come to light that, geez, it's not okay. All this carbon's in there, in the atmosphere, and it's causing climate change and global warming. And so there is a cost to that the people who are generating that power and the people that are using the power aren't paying. To get off fossil fuels, which are a significant contributor to climate change, is critical.
Professional views aside, it's important to know what teens like us think about the subject at hand.
Well, my name is Andra, I'm in grade 8, and I go to Winfield. Well, it helps our environment because it doesn't pollute. Unlike non-renewable energy, which is harder to get, it produces a lot of heat, which also affects the air in our environment and also pollutes the air and the water, since a lot of the oils that we use go into the water and the air as well, and this affects the animals and so on.
Bit of what do you think of renewable energy? What do you think it is?
It's energy that you can reuse all over again. For example, the sun, the water, the waves, and it may be more expensive, but it's also good for the environment.
Because we will be inheriting the Earth in the future, it is important that we are passionate about this topic and also well educated in it.
Depends what renewable energies you talk about. Generally, no, it's not expensive to operate.
The problem with the hydropower energy is that it generates, if it's not well done, it could create an environmental large impact. There is also a potential consequence that dam can fail. So if that happens, you have a huge catastrophic impact for the people living down the stream of the river. They can get flooded. So from that point of view, that's why actually the dams, they are not so popular nowadays. They used to be.
Electric cars are the next big thing, right? Electrification of the transportation infrastructure. That's huge.
Electric cars are said to be the next best thing to save our planet, but what we don't realize is the problem that they bring as well. If everyone were to buy a new electric car, it would in fact only assist the environment if we were to electrify the process of making these cars. But many factories that make them create the pollution we are trying to avoid with electrification. Many of these things may seem to have a larger impact than they do, but the importance is baby steps. Electrification and renewable energy is the way to go to helping our planet. Alongside any pros that the renewable energy creates, there are, of course, some cons. There isn't always sun for solar panels, the wind isn't always present, or the water in the dams can be quite dangerous. Not to mention that they are not as effective as the non-renewable sources that produce energy at a much higher level. As we've seen some of the downsides of renewable energy, we look into why we need to minimize the consumption of fossil fuels and how renewable energy plays a part. Mining for our fossil fuels creates loads of pollution in the environment on top of the actual damage fossil fuels do when they are burned. In order to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions, we need to put renewable sources in the mix. By minimizing our use of fossil fuels, we take out the largest source of carbon emissions in North America. Renewable energy may not be the most refined option we have, but it's the best one we have so far.
It's like we need to take care of the planet.
There is a change that we need to make to save our planet. If we continue to pollute and ignore what we are doing, this generation and the ones after us will struggle with the unpromising future. We need to make a change to prevent the seemingly uninhabitable future of our planet. We need to protect our home.
And I'm really proud of you guys taking this on because climate change, battling climate change does matter, and it matters for your future and my kids' future as well. So good work.